Hey guys, we've been getting a lot of questions about our The And experience, and the good news is you can pick up a copy of the And card game right now on our Shopify. So follow the link below and get a copy for you, friends, and family.
What's the last thing I did that surprised you, and why did it?
Oh my God, there's so many. Okay, so the last thing I would say is talking to my parents about erectile dysfunction.
You're never going to let me live that one down, are you?
I'm never going to let you live that down. What do you think I can learn from you in regards to dating?
Oh, okay. I'm so glad you picked that one. Oh, what you can learn from me, so many things, but if I had to... Okay,
Really?
edit that one out, please.
I really can learn so many things. Okay.
Because I would like for you to really get to know somebody in a really intimate way before you bring them in contact with the people in your life that are really close to you.
Okay.
Like even in terms of like physical intimacy. I mean, I don't know like so much that aspect of your life, but I would say not just to you, but to all women, really feel comfortable with someone before you share something so intimate with somebody.
I do.
Yeah.
I'm very, very clear about that.
Yeah. And that way, it's when it does happen, I think as a person, you or anyone else would feel more safe, more comfortable in that.
I don't think so. Honestly, I don't think
No, really?
I don't think like safety comes from actions like that. Tell me like something that you really think that would be like beneficial to my life. I want to hear something else.
I would tell you, and I'm seeing that you're starting to do it, when you feel something just doesn't feel right in your gut, listen to it. And don't be afraid to walk away from that, even if there is a chance that, okay, maybe that gut feeling was wrong.
Well, do you trust your stomach or do you trust what's actually happening?
I think that our gut is a blessing that we were given in order to help guide us in the right direction in life. And oftentimes, for me at least, it's been right, and I ignored it, and I suffered because of that.
Okay.
When do you worry most for me?
I think like I worry most for you when you're like really caught up in like questioning yourself, and it like affects you emotionally and physically, and like sometimes when you take on new things that like maybe you're not doing it for reasons that it's all about proving something instead of like really doing it because like there's like this place of like joy and happiness coming from it, instead of like, oh, I'm doing this because I gotta prove myself, or like prove to somebody, or like prove that I can look this way, or like prove that I can win this thing, or you know, take this exam. Like it's all that, and I get worried. Yeah, that like
It's like it's never enough.
yeah, it's never enough.
No.
I see, and also like the obsession kicks in, and I just want you to be happy and healthy.
I mean, I think it really all started, I was in the 4th grade, I'll never forget this. We were learning about currency, and the teacher called me to the blackboard and to have me perform a calculation in front of the class. I got it wrong, and she said in front of everybody, and I'll never forget this, "You are the first Jewish girl I've ever met that doesn't know money." Everyone started laughing. I was mortified. I wish that the floor would open up and swallow me. And then I thought to myself, oh really, don't I? And look what I do now for a living.
Right. So from that moment on, that was it, right?
That was my thing. That's my thing.
Right. Got to prove everything to people.
Yeah. And not only prove it, but I'm going to do it 10 times more than they expected that I could even do it.
Yeah.
When was the last time I misunderstood you, and how do you feel about it now?
There were times where like I felt like you were asking a lot from me in a moment where like I really couldn't like give out. I was like exhausted, and like I didn't say like, hey, like I really need you to actually come over and like help me with a couple things, because I've slept for like 2 hours consecutively for like 10 days, and like I'm dealing with all this stuff and a screaming like newborns, and I'm like, oh my God, it doesn't anybody realize that like I'm over here like dealing with this stuff. And like that was also my fault, because like I was like feeling misunderstood, but I wasn't like asking for anything either. And like now I see it. So like, and I looked back at myself as a single person, and I was like, I was peripherally like related to my friends who had kids. Like I got it, but then I really didn't understand it until I became mom. And then I was like, oh my God, it's great to take your friends' kids or like help out with families' kids and like family and stuff, like when they're not yours, and like you can like be like, okay, I'm done now. But it's another thing when you're like living the day in and day out and like being in the throes of it, especially with like little newborns. And so
I'm trying to become more cognizant of the fact that you need support in other ways that maybe you didn't need before you had your daughter.
Sure.
And to give that freely with love, and to not expect anything in return.
Thank you.
Just because I love you, and now I love your daughter because she's an extension of you.
Thanks.
Even if I don't understand children.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of it, right? I mean, sometimes I want to go back to, like, I have days where I'm like, man, if I could just be single again with no children.
Step into Michal's shoes.
You know, so yeah, sometimes I just want to live vicariously through others, but I would never, you know, give up what I've got now. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
What's one experience that you wish we'll share together in the future?
And one experience I wish we could share together in the future is having a family and raising a family together side by side.
Oh, I was like, we're not raising a family together.
not.
Oh, as friends,
Yes.
like raising separate families. Okay.
Separately. I love you, but I don't want to marry you.
Wow. Okay. I was like, what?
I still want to marry a dude. And just to, experience that part of life with you. I know for the last couple of years you've been doing that on your own, and I want to join this club.
Well, then you have to choose that you want to actually have kids.
That's true. Because sometimes I'm like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I know deep down that's what I want to do, but I don't know. I like freedom. I'm having the scales here, what I want more, what I need more. And I guess I'm going to let life decide for me.
Well, what's really there? Like, what do you think is really there behind, like, the question of, like, why are you afraid of kids? Because I see that. Like, you're afraid to even be with on her own, and she's 3 now. So, like, what's that all about?
It's the fear of the lack of freedom and the...
But even when you're with, like, other people's kids, too, you feel a fear of freedom?
That, and also just like a liability, like a responsibility. If something happens to him or her let's say they're at the park and they break their collarbone. And that happened while they were under my care. I don't know if I could emotionally handle the consequences of that. It would be very difficult for me to have to deal with that.
Even if it was just an accident?
Mm-hmm. I think the feeling of guilt would overtake me. So I think that's why I avoid it.
Yeah. And do you think that would like keep you from having your own kids?
Yes. Yes, the possibility that maybe I won't make the right decisions and emotionally I would harm them, trying to make them live a life that I think that they should live, but not what their path was meant to be. When you make a mistake with yourself, it's one thing. But when you're doing it with someone else, that's double the burden.
Yeah, and what if you could just get that, like, you get to be completely free in like your choices with people, and that like you're gonna make mistakes, and like there's going to be failure, and that your child's not gonna have a perfect upbringing, that you're gonna do your very best because you're you, and like any person that's in your care, whether it's a relationship or like your child or your family or your friends, like they're gonna get the best of you because you're gonna do that. Who you're going to be with your kids is up to you.
If this was our last conversation together, what would you want me to know and why?
I think I'd want you to know that you're really loved. A lot more than you think you are. And that you're a really inspiring person to me.
Really?
Yeah. And that, your friendship has like really been an important part of my life these last almost 10 years.
Yeah. I think we forget that, when we're in the throes of
Busy days and
yeah.
everything, and
that we are loved.
It's really good to remember that.
Yeah. And then maybe, having that awareness that I am loved, hopefully I'll feel liberated from the need to dictate my life so I can prove myself to others and that I am better than, or that they thought, or they probably didn't even think that about me. I'm just thinking that they probably think that I'm not worthy or that I'm not capable.
Who knows?
Yeah.
The important thing is just to remember that people love you.
Yeah.
And that I love you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey y'all, if you liked the video and want to help us make more, please consider supporting us on Patreon. We'd really appreciate it. Thank you.